There we go. Hi. Hello, how are you doing? I'm going to cook some stuff today, and you can join me or not. I've got some, my pie crust recipe to share with you, and I'm going to show you how I assembly line. Let me take my watch off. I'm going to show you how I assembly line the whole process, okay? Because we're going to be making a few batches of pie crust today. And then if I have time, I'm going to go ahead and make my caramel apple pie. And of course, just talk. And I've got some, pictures, the latest saga of Colonel Jr. eating the pot roast, that kind of thing. And anyway, I got two camera angles today. I've got dinner here. I'm putting dinner together first, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. This is one of those things where I do the Facebook Live, like, cooking log, and I'll just stream what I'm doing. And it's not edited, and it's not fast. And then I think, well, nobody wants to watch that because that's just, ridiculous. And then I find myself, like, on YouTube watching other, like, live long things. And I think, well, I don't know. There might be, look, the way I see it, this is dinner. The way I see it, there are some people who just, don't mind having something on in the background, okay? And I'm one of those people. And so while I'm cooking a lot, I'll watch someone's, like, YouTube Live or these little things, and they're not edited and they're really long, but I don't mind myself. Okay, I'll show you my other angle here. There's my other angle, and I'll go back. Okay, anyway, so what I do, I got stories, but I make pie crust, before Thanksgiving, obviously. When my kids come home from school, they're going to be really excited because we are going to be making pies tonight, okay? It all started a few years ago. I started the pie day tradition, and there's a story behind that. But first, what I'm going to do, because I know I'm going to be busy with all of the pie stuff tonight, is I'm getting dinner in the crock pot now, okay? This is corned beef, and it comes in the frozen packages. I get it at the commissary. We're living in Germany now, so it's in the afternoon. But I get it at the commissary, and it's the Hormel corned beef brisket, and it comes with a little spice packet. That's what you see right there. And I just pour. I have two corned beefs in here. Corned beefs, is that what you say? Because I have a lot of kids, so I do two at a time. And then I just pour a bunch of beer all over. In the United States, we could get Guinness here, but because we're in Germany, why not? And also, this is what my husband has. So anyway, I just pour that over. That's easy. That's dinner. And I'm not going to be making potatoes with this, which is what I would normally do, but because I don't have time to peel potatoes or do anything tonight. So I'll just make rice in the rice cooker, okay? Like Japanese style rice, right? Okay, I'm going to plug this in. And I'm still here. And I'm going to set it to high. All right, here I am again. I'm going to set it to high for about an hour and then turn it down. Because what time is it? It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. Anyway, you can join me if you want. It's not a big deal. I have my kombucha. So I wanted to show you my system for making pie, my pie crust. I use a food processor, and there are a few things I have prepped already here, okay? Let me see what I can do here with my camera angles. Yeah, how about that? No. How about that? Okay, that's better. Okay. So, just so you can see what I'm doing here, first of all, I've got flour. Okay, this this big thing here, this is full of flour. This is how I store my flour. It's easier to scoop if it's in a wide mouth tub, a wide tub, right? Okay, so I've got flour, and then I have the fat component, okay? You guys know, if you don't know, pastry is pastry only because it has a high fat ratio to flour, okay? And so here I've got half of a, and the recipe's in the description, but I've got half of a cup of butter and half of a cup of lard. And I'll explain why we use lard in a little bit, okay? And you don't have to, okay? It's just one of those things. I have a scientific explanation for it. Okay, I got my food processor, and I've got my flour in here. I've got salt ready to go with a 1 teaspoon scoop, okay? And so this getting everything ready is really important in how I'm gonna do this assembly line so quickly and easily, okay? And then I have sugar with a 1 tablespoon measure, okay? And that's sitting right here. Lastly, most importantly, I've got ice water, okay? This is, I'll go ahead and bink. There we go. I've got ice water, okay? And so if you don't know, when we're making pastry, we need to honor that high fat component by making sure it doesn't melt on us, okay? And I'm just gonna go ahead, I hope this is working. Oh, hey, okay, there I am. Okay, just wanted to check. Let's see, here I am. I'm making sure it doesn't. Oh, hi. You know what? I got to tell you, I can't see. Go ahead. I hope this is working. Oh, hey. Oh, okay. Oh, hey. Hey, Clara. I can't see who's watching when I'm using this program. Okay. Wait, maybe I can see your comment now. No comments yet. I can see the comments on my phone, but I can't see the comments on my iPad. Okay. So just so you know, if you do something and you're ever interested in doing something like this, I'll just tell you real quick how I do it. This is my iPad. There I am. See, it's infinity. Watch. And so this is my good iPad that has the larger screen, and I have the keyboard attached. So if I want to type out a caption, I can. And it's a program called Switcher Studio. And there's all different kinds of programs where you can live stream with different camera angles. And a lot of times, like if I just did the iPad for the Facebook Live, which I have before, and it's not a problem, but if I was doing that, everything would be a mirror image, okay? Which is not a big deal, but if you're, like if I'm gonna post a recipe, I don't wanna have to write it backwards. And so those times when I do Facebook Lives where I don't have this program, it's a mirror image, and so I have to write on my crappy piece of paper, I have to write it backwards, right? And that's, I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing that today. And I wanted to have the multiple camera angles. And so anyway, this is gonna take a while. You can join me. I super appreciate you being here. And you can just, I don't know, if you just wanna hang out. I'm gonna keep checking my phone to see comments, and then I can answer questions if you have questions. Okay, but let's start with our pie production here. Let me see if I can do, so with this program, I can also do split screen. I don't know. Does that matter? I don't know. It's just one of those things. Anyway, technology these days. Anyway, so if you do something, crafts, or you cook too, it's kind of a neat thing to be able to, have that kind of control over the camera angles. And this is something, so I'm like, let me just assemble my first batch here. As you can see, here we go. I'm going to make 4 batches today. And so, if you're like, how long is this going to take? I don't know. My kids come home at 3. That's 2 hours. But, I have actually found myself watching long stuff on YouTube on days where I'm just like, I just need, something happening that I don't have to really think about, and maybe I'll find it interesting. And anyway, that's that. And I don't have to edit this, which takes a long time, which I'll talk about later. Okay, food processor. I have 3 cups of flour in the food processor. right now, okay? I'm going to add this. I'm just going to mix my dry component first, okay? So that's 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, okay? And as we go, I mean, I'll explain the backstory on this because I got all kinds of stories. All right, here we go. So then, oh, what's going on? Oh, wait, hold on a second. Gosh darn it. There might be, I don't know, maybe we'll get cut short here. I'm not sure. Because now I just found out I have technical difficulties. Okay, that is just flour, salt, and sugar, okay? Now we are going to introduce the fat component, okay? Now I'm just gonna keep all my stuff here because remember, I'm making several batches, okay? So these, I cubed these up a few hours ago, and then I put them in the freezer, okay? And so they're cold, and I'm just gonna add half of them right now, and then run this. I have a, there we go. Okay, and then I'm just gonna keep adding, adding my butter and lard, okay? And I am going to explain why I'm using lard. There's a good explanation for it. Okay, turn that back on. Anyway, so my sound input's down here. Maybe you can hear me. Maybe you can't. I don't know. Oh, hey. Hi, everyone. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being here because I know that for you guys on the West Coast, it's the middle of the night, and in the East Coast, you're just waking up. So, and now I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of water, ice cold water, okay? Now I have this table all cluttered up with all my stuff here. Let's see here. So I'm just going to add 6 tablespoons and help me count 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is just a standard ratio. And you're going to see how it starts to clump up like clay really soon here. I hope. Unless I got the measurements totally wrong, which is possible. Usually when I'm doing all this prep work, I'm listening to a podcast, and I was just listening to True Crime Obsessed, which is a scream. It is so funny. Oh my gosh. And so sometimes I get distracted, and right now I'm looking at this going, did I put 3 cups in here? Did I miscount? I don't know. What if it's wrong? How embarrassing. No, it's not. It's all right. Alrighty. It's clumping up. Okay, so I can talk about my favorite podcast, but I also have some pictures to share with you. Actually, you know what? I can do that. I can do that picture in picture. I can do this, and then I can show pictures. First of all, the first picture I want to show you today, this show and tell, okay, is this is little Jason. Oh my gosh, wait, there's a cat coming in right now. Come here, honey. Watch, okay, watch right here. Watch right here. Come on, little sister. Oh, she's a sneaky one. Okay. Well, the cat that just walked by that you didn't see is not Jason. This cat, wait, yeah, that's right. This cat right here is Jason. The cat that walked in is little Mochi. Actually, I'll show you her picture. Oh, wait, no, I didn't upload it. Gosh darn it. Okay, never mind. Okay, anyway, little Mochi, she comes in here because their food is in here. Um, anyway, she's the cat we got when we lived in Japan. So little Mochi was born in Japan. Oh, gosh darn it, I wish I had a picture because that cat on the screen's not Mochi. Anyway, she's a good kid. She doesn't really like me very much. She belongs to my daughter. Okay, she is my daughter's bestie, my 15-year-old daughter. And so, you know, I'm glad they have each other. Okay, so but this is little Jason here. I'm going to go ahead and turn out my, whoops. No. Okay. All right. I'll put Jason back. Wanted to show you this angle though. There we go. And then I'm going to do this pie here and I'm going to talk to you about Jason. Okay. This is how the pie, the pastry looks, right? After you have, word it in the food processor, right? And I was right. I didn't miscalculate the ratio here because I was laughing at a podcast. Okay. And now I know a lot. Wait. Okay. What am I doing here? Okay. I'm going to go back and talk to you guys. Okay. Because, there. We'll talk about Jason in a minute. Okay. But since this is the first time I'm making I'm going to make this a few times. I know that a lot of people, this one I can do split screen. There we go. Ah, yes. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, I know that because I've taught this pie recipe, this pastry recipe actually in class, you know, with real people. Okay, back in the United States, I have a whole cooking school in storage, and it's beautiful. But what I know is that American women suffer from what I call pie crust anxiety. Oh, there she is. Do you guys see her? Oh, gosh darn it. Wait, there she is. There she is. You got one glimpse of her. That little cutie pie. I'm telling you what. Okay, back to this. You guys got to see the cat, hopefully. Anyway, okay. American women suffer from... Okay, did you guys see how this is coming together like that? Okay, back to the topic. American women suffer from what I call pie crust anxiety. Okay, look, I don't know what happened to you all as children. I don't know what your aunt or grandma said to you when you made a pie. All I can tell you is that you are perfectly capable of making a pie. You should make a pie if that's what your heart desires. And you don't have to prove your pie making skills to anybody. And you know what? I'm proud of you. Okay, I'm proud of you. Okay, and I don't think. I mean, look, I'm a Generation X. I don't think it's such a thing anymore. But I do think for a long time, pie was just one of those topics where people would just get really bratty and be like, "Oh, you call that a crust?" I mean, I'm just telling you, I've seen it. Okay. I'm not going to name any names, but I've seen it and I've heard it, and just a great deal of scrutiny about pies, making food that's going to be presented to a lot of people. Hopefully it's dying out, the trend of, you know, thinking that someone's just, you know, desperate for approval and making a pie. I'm just telling you, okay, I have to move on. I'm going to say too much. I got to move on. But all I'm telling you is that you're capable. You guys just saw how I did that. I'm going to do it again. Okay. You're capable of making a pie. I believe you can make a pie that is nice. And I believe that it doesn't even matter if it's something that you would, you know, whatever, Insta-worthy. If you enjoy it, you should do it. Okay. Okay. Okay, anyway, favorite part, guillotine, right? It's like when I'm angry, I'm like, oh, I remember that's something that, and I'm like, it's just time to just slice that over. Okay, anyway, I got two little hockey pucks, okay? This is how we're going to store it. We're not going to roll it out just yet, okay? We're not going to roll it out. Gosh, I'm happy with that split screen. I really am. I'm happy, okay? Now you can see I made a little hockey puck. This is how we're going to store it. This is how it's going to meditate. It's going to think about its life. It's going to understand that now it is no longer separate components. It is now pastry, okay? We have to give it a chance to figure out who it is, okay? And there we go. Yeah, I'll go back. I'll go back here for a minute. All right, saran wrap. We're gonna do the saran wrap. I'll take a break every few, I don't know, every 10 minutes or so to look at the comments. Just understand that I can't see them right now, okay? There we go. Number 1, okay? Cute little fella, all ready to go. So when my kids come home, they're gonna be so excited to make pies, my little kids. I'm not gonna force the teenagers to do it, but if they want to, I have the stuff, okay? But I wanted to talk to you, let's see. Okay, there we go. See, I wanted to tell the story of Jason. God, isn't he cute? Okay. Jason is the cat that used to belong to another Marine Corps spouse. I'm a Marine Corps spouse, 25 and a half years. Actually a good friend, and I went to her house because she was posting something to sell. I don't remember what it was. And I walked in and I was just shocked. I was like, that is a gorgeous cat. I couldn't even believe it. Here, there we go. Okay. I was like, that is a beautiful cat. And wouldn't you know that cat, I think he was on his like second or third home. Okay. That's it. Pastry discs. Because it's cold here, because my ice water is really cold, because the butter and lard were really cold. This is cold. I'm happy with it. This is Germany. It's cold. It was 23 degrees when I took my kids to the bus stop this morning. Okay. This is going to be just fine here on the counter. Okay. If none of the schools call me, if there's no emergency, I'm going to try to make my caramel apple pie. Okay. That's not for a while. So go do whatever you want to do. Okay. What was I saying? Okay. So Jason was on his like second or third home. Jason is an interesting guy, okay? He's not a cat for everybody. But I saw him and I thought to myself, that is a beautiful cat. And I said, wow, that is a beautiful cat. Now, do you remember my other cat, Mochi, who just ran through here? This is kombucha. It's really good for you. So anyway, my other cat, Mochi, who just ran through here, she's from Japan. But Jason, his original name was Mochi, okay? What are the odds? Okay, so here I am. I'm like, and then when my friend was like, look, we really can't keep this cat. I think she put it up on Facebook. And that was a time whenever anyone in my neighborhood had an animal that needed a home, everyone would just tag me, which I loved. And so I was like, yeah, I'll take that little guy. And but we're gonna have to change his name. Okay, 3 cups of flour. Do you guys see here? Let me change this. Let me talk about this for a second. Okay. The reason why I keep my flour in here is because I can sift it. I can move it. Okay. Right as I'm measuring it. Okay, out. We got to put Jason back in here. Okay. So anyway, we were living in North Carolina in a Marine Corps base at the time. So anyway, that was 3 cups, right? So I took little Jason, but I didn't know what to name him. So at first I named him Jeff Goldblum, but turns out that my son who's now in Marine Corps boot camp at Parris Island, he's doing great. God bless him. Miss him. He's having the time of his life. Anyway, he got along with Jason really well. And he decided to name him Jason because Jason's a guy's guy, okay? Anyway, that's a story of how we came to have little Jason. And in this picture right here, Jason is invisible because he has this imagination, and he, like, every afternoon he goes through like, he puts himself in training and he's like jumping all over the place. It's like, you know, you'd think he had a little M16 in his hands and he's running all over the place. And that's his bunker. We call it his bunker of invisibility because he thinks he's invisible when he's in there. I don't know how I know, but I do. Okay. Batch number 2. All right, I'm just going to wipe my hands on my apron. All right. Oh, hey, how you guys doing? Wait a second. Let me see if I can mute some comments. There I am. Oh. Hey. Hey, how you doing? Oh, hi. Okay. My favorite student. What do I do without a food processor? I could show you. I could show you a batch without the food processor. I can. How about we do that next, okay? I'll do one batch without the food processor. I'll show you in a minute. Oh, come on. There, okay. Anyway, I'll show you in a minute. Okay, in other news, where is he? All right. In other news, Colonel Jr. ate an entire pot roast. Oh my God. Okay. Now, I had a lot of comments, and I couldn't answer them all about Colonel Jr. and his adventure. But that's the pot roast. It was my miso glazed pot roast, okay? Now, because I'm used to cooking for so many people, I made 2, of course. But the thing is that now that boot camp's son is in boot camp, I don't need to cook that much. But still, it's just part of what I do now. So, and I miss him, and I don't want to accept that he's not here. So I still cook 2 pot roasts at once. Okay. So this is the pot roast I made the other night. It was great. But we only ate half of it. Okay. 6 tablespoons of water. All right. Help me count here. All right. Let me just do that. Okay. Wait, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we only ate half the pot roast. Because boot camp son is not here. God bless him. But this guy went into the kitchen, and when no one was looking, he ate half of what I had out, an entire pot roast. And so the good news is that we did get to eat. Okay, we did eat dinner. The bad news is that we didn't have any leftovers, and then that was bitter. I mean, I was bitter about that because when I'm up here working, a lot of times I have leftovers for lunch, and I had the horseradish sauce. I had everything ready to go. My kids were looking forward to having it after school, and so that's Colonel Jr. Now, we call his new nickname, however, is Pot Roast, okay? It was one of the kids who started calling him the Pot Roast Kid. And then it just got shortened to Pot Roast. Like, come here, Pot Roast. Back off, Pot Roast. Not nearly as dignified as a name of, as Colonel Jr., but... that's what you get when you steal a pot. Well, that looks terrible. Look at that. No. Split screen. Is that what I did before? Better, except this way. Okay. Anyway, not nearly as nice of a name as Colonel Jr., but it does fit him, and he had no regrets. He didn't feel bad about that at all. So that's the latest news in my house, Colonel Jr. and the pot roast. And like I said, now we just call them pot roast. Okay, another tip. Back to our cooking. This is a pastry scraper. I got several. Let me see if I can just, hold on a second. Since we're talking about pastry scrapers, okay, got several pastry scrapers. They all are special to me, and they all have a distinct purpose. But today we're going to talk about, I can't tell you how much fun I'm having. Today we're going to talk about this pastry scraper. I mean, this is the number one. This is the primo, okay? It's really important. Now I'm saying this, you know, as I'm covered in goo, but try to keep your work surface a little bit clean, okay? You know, don't stress about it, but if you just keep your surface scraped down, okay? There we go. That's working out still. Okay, so once again, we're doing this. Okay, and I can tell you another story. Oh, I know what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you about the Slimer cake. Do you guys remember that? I'll show you a picture. Wait, should I show the picture? Should I do this? I don't know. Let me just form this. Okay, let's talk about pie crust anxiety just for one more second. All right. This is when most people really freak out, okay? Because they're like, this isn't a pie. And if you have pie crust anxiety and if you have had bad experiences with unkind people scrutinizing your food, you are going to be freaking out right now, okay? And when that happens, I want you to think, you know, Shannon says that I should ignore that and I should just continue to push this together because the heat of your hands is going to melt the fat component just enough so it sticks together. And now this is another thing that I think a lot of people think, uh-oh, I need to add more something. I need to do not get creative at this point. I love being a creative cook. I love making stuff up. I make stuff up every day. But this is not when you want to go rogue. Okay, this is science. This is ratios. This is important, okay? If you go and add more water to this, it's over. It's over. You have to start over, okay? If you go and add more fat to this, it's over. You have to start over. Flour, forget about it, okay? Don't do it. And do not substitute this flour with like whole wheat flour. I got other ratios for that if you want a whole wheat crust, okay? That's a whole different topic, okay? This is not anything. This is not a boxed mix. This is not something you could add this or add that. This is not the time, okay? Can you understand what I'm trying to say? If you want this to work out, you just have to follow the rules. And I know how hard that is. Okay, I do. Anyway, but you can see, you see it just like that. That's all. I just did this. That's it. And now I'm just going to push it together. Now remember before when I was saying these are accepting their new life, right? Because they're no longer separate components. They are new creatures, okay? And what they're doing right now is extremely important. And that is, well, they're accepting their new lot in life. They are now pastry. But it's the time that is spent with those molecules are the flour molecules are the flour particles, not molecules. I'm not gonna. The particles are starting to soak up the fats, soak up the liquids, and that's what makes this different from this in about 20 minutes, is that this is in shock, like a brand new baby, doesn't know what it is yet. You cannot roll this out, but I'll show you. I mean, we'll roll this out. It'll be beautiful. You won't even believe it. Okay. Okay, anyway, stories. We can go back here. All right, picture in picture. We're going to talk about the Slimer cake I made for my son, Thomas. Okay, Thomas is, he's a great kid, okay. He's a handful, yes. This cake was perfect for him. And the grosser it was, the better. Gnarly teeth, gum disease. I mean, that Slimer creature. Okay, so you guys know. Okay, watch. See? I'm almost done here. Guillotine. Okay. Slimer is from Ghostbusters. Because I'm not selling the cake, okay? I can say that, and I can say this is Slimer, right? I don't have a cake business anymore. I never want a cake business again. Somebody asked me recently, like, well, why don't you just... And I was like, no. I'd rather do this. This is better. Okay. And make stuff like this for my kids. Because that was really interesting. Anyway, I do have a little tutorial. I will. But let me just show you a couple pictures, because I think you'll find it interesting. First of all, I used my buttermilk vanilla cake recipe and I baked it in half sheet pans. Okay, so one of those is baked, the other one is unbaked. Okay. Also, what else did I do? I made the fondant out of my Marshmallow Fondant recipe. If you've ever made a Rice Krispie treat, okay, it's the same thing. I know it sounds really weird. Okay, Marshmallow Fondant is basically a Rice Krispie treat, only you're not actually putting the melted marshmallow butter mixture into Rice Krispies. You're putting it into powdered sugar, okay? And I use my KitchenAid mixer. I use the dough attachment, okay? And it turns into a nice fondant, right? Not something, so here he is. I had stacked him, and I getting to the place where I was starting to build his character. Because I stacked the cake, high. Marshmallow fondant is not something I would ever use professionally, because it breaks down, the integrity of it breaks down in about 12 to 15 hours. Okay, I would never use it on a wedding cake. Not that I'm ever going to make a wedding cake again, but you know what I mean. Okay. But, so here's another picture that I enjoyed taking. That was my 2 sheet cakes. 2 half sheet cakes. They're very thin. With all my fondant, my buttercream, and my chocolate buttercream for, icing it. Okay. And then all my tools, okay, because if you want to do cake sculpting, you need some tools. You need something else besides like knives and forks and stuff. And you can find those on, the A store. Okay, so like I promised, I'm going to show you how to make this without the food processor. Now, I'm sitting here wondering, I'm like, okay, wait, what should we do? Here, I'll just do this. This is why I don't understand people who don't wear aprons. I do not, especially the food people on the shows. They don't wear aprons. I don't know. Anyway, I know it's not glamorous, but my gosh, where else do you wipe all the... Okay. The thing I'm thinking about right here, so if you want to make this without the food processor, you're going to need to cut this recipe in half, okay? And I could do the whole recipe right here just with the 3 cups, but you know what? I don't think that's a very good example to set, because it's going to be hard for me to work with this much dough. Okay, this is 1.5 cups. So what's the recipe? It was 3, because I got it memorized. It was 3 cups of flour, okay? So we're going to use 1.5 cups of flour. I'm just going to put it right here on my surface. Okay, and we're going to do a split screen again. There we go. Okay. I got 3 cups, or I got 1.5 cups of flour right here. Okay. And instead of 2 tablespoons of sugar, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon. And instead of a teaspoon of salt, I'm going to use a half. Okay. So we have just measured out our dry component, and it's all in halves. Okay. And now here's kind of the tricky bit here, because I'm going to take just half of this, which I'm going to have to eyeball it. Okay. And of course, people have been making pie for a very long time. And, you know, obviously a food processor is a new invention. So I'm gonna go ahead and you guys can see that. I'm gonna just try to eyeball it, okay? Just get half my fat component there. Try to keep the ratio of butter to lard, you know, intact. Okay, that looks about right. Here's Jason. Hey, Jason. Jason gets up around this time of day. Okay. We got to stick on topic. I'll talk about Jason in a minute. Okay, so you guys can see that, right? So I've got a quarter cup of butter chunks and a quarter cup of lard chunks, okay? And now you see I got it laid up right there. I already mixed my dry component together, and now I'm just going to press these flat, okay? Honestly, okay, this is going to make a better pie crust than the food processor, right? And that's why I'm so glad you asked, okay? And the reason why is because our fat is not going to get pulverized. Oh, there's Colonel Jr. Gosh darn it, you're missing all the good stuff because I have the... All right, hang on a second. He loves, of course, hey, Colonel, come here. Hey, pot roast, come here. He's wagging his tail. I can see it. Okay. Anyway, he'll come back. Let me go back to the bink. Okay. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but there's something that you can buy for pie crusts. It's called lard leaf, okay? Or leaf lard, okay? And it's really, really thin lard that makes for a really good pie crust. And that's because, oh, here he comes. Oh, hi. What are you doing in Paprika? Okay, so these are my little friends. I swear. Hi, I know. What are you doing? Okay, he is adorable though, even though he pot roast. Okay, I gotta go back to split screen so I can stay, well, no, I'll just talk right here. Okay, the reason why this is gonna make a better pie crust is because we're flattening all this out, okay? All right, now I know I gotta go to split screen here so you can see this. Okay, we're flattening all this out and we're pressing it just like this, okay? Thumb, four fingers, right? Thumb, four fingers. And don't leave any like chunks. We want it all to be flat. And what we're doing, okay, is we're making our own lard leaf. That's it, okay? Now, if you're mass producing pies like me, not mass producing, but you know what, I'm making a few batches. The food processor, easy, fast, because this is wear and tear on your hands, okay? But I'm telling you what, this makes a better pie crust. And this is, you know, you don't need a thing. But remember, I did have the recipe. How do you say that? I just guess it depends on where you're from. Okay, so I got kind of my lard leafy. And this is how I taught my class. So the last time I taught an in-person class on this was 4 years ago. And this is the method I taught. Now, we did not do it on the flat counter. We used bowls, okay? And so now I'm remembering. Okay, so if you're doing this for the first time, you are gonna want to use a bowl, okay? Because the next part is a bit tricky. And, but you can see here why I cut the recipe in half to do this, okay? It would have been too hard on my hands. It would have taken a long time. Okay. All right, now I'm just gonna scrape it all like this, make it into a little mound here. Okay. Now, this is a method that, I mean, I'd call it, you know, this is standard, right? But in this day and age, I'm gonna call this an old world method, okay? And what we're doing, you guys can see that, right? I'm making a little well, okay? So what I've done here is now, if you're using a bowl, try to do this, okay? Because it does serve a purpose. But what I am doing is I'm making a flour bowl, okay? A flour and a butter and a lard bowl. And adding the wet component is definitely the most challenging part, because what I want to try to do, you guys hopefully can see that, is keep all the liquid in the center here. Okay, I'm going to add, so it's just 3 tablespoons, remember, because we cut the recipe in half. Okay, now watch this. So I've just made a it's like a little pond. Okay, you guys, if you ever played at the beach, it's the same thing. Okay, now watch. Now I'm just adding some of that flour in there, because the first thing I want to do is eliminate the drip factor. Okay, so just pinch this. If you're using a bowl, not as hard. That's why I think you should use a bowl. But try to do this while you're using a bowl, because what you're doing is you're staying with the method, and you're going to learn something. Okay. Okay. So you see how I got that? That's just, it's paste now. It's putty. Okay, now we're safe. Now we're safe, and now we're just going to move this around like this. All right? And that's it. Okay, now if I had not made the paste in the middle of the well, it would have run off on the counter and kind of dribbled down. And then I would have lost that precious ratio, because it would have been hard for me to know exactly how much I lost. Does that make sense? So that was the tricky part. Okay. Okay, and it's coming together beautifully. I mean, this is so nice. And those flat pieces of butter and lard are really responding well to this. So you see I have my loose bits here. This is the pastry forming, and I'm just going to keep massaging it together, right? Hope for the best. And I am not adding anything else, okay? Okay, anyway, so that was my Slimer story. I'm going to go ahead, check the comments, okay? Let me see if it's finally loaded on this thingy. Oh, hey, there you are. Okay. I have to, oh no, I enjoy it. It was really interesting. It's fun for me to get questions, and then it challenges my brain to go, oh, okay, I know what to do. I know how to teach this, because I love it. So, okay. And that's how we make it without the food processor, okay? And let's see. I think there is a delay. Ruh-roh. Oh. Okay, we're fine now. It's the internet. It's the internet. And what a marvel. We can do this, right? Let me just check again. Welcome new. I wonder why. Oh, I know why. Okay. Oh, right, good. Oh, well, tell little Caroline I hope she enjoys that. My friend said her daughter is interested in baking. That's always fun. Okay, more stories. What other stories do I have for you? Well, let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I've made pie crust. I've made 2 batches with a food processor. I've made 1 batch by hand. There we go. See how that just like the other one, okay? Just like the other one, only we're making 1 disc instead of 2. And like I said, really, it's actually going to make a better pie. Okay. Anyway, let's see. I got other stories. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to wrap this one up too. Whoops. Okay, so far so good. Okay, how long are we here? We're almost at an hour. Wow. Anyway, I prefer this. Oh, I'll tell you stories. I got more stories. So I prefer this to the YouTube thing. Although, I mean, so the story is, I'm going to clean up here while I tell the story. The story, wait, and I got a thingy. Okay, picture in picture. Dink, dink. It's here. There we go. This is my YouTube. I don't know if you can even see that. Whatever. That's my YouTube channel. And so the last time I did a live cooking log, I was like, I have, 15 subscribers. Because, the internet is that kind of thing where you have to kind of build your presence on each platform. Like, I just started doing the TikTok thing and I have like 11 followers, right? Where here I have over 3,000, right? Maybe close to 4 up there, closer to 4. And so I don't pay to advertise. I mean, I don't know. I think that was a trend on Instagram. I'm on Instagram too. I think that was a trend on Instagram for a while where, so this is relevant to you if you want to do something like this, okay? This is valuable information. No, this is stuff that might interest you while I'm cleaning up. Because I'm going to make my caramel apple pie now, okay? If you want to do something like this, it's not going to be a big hit, right away. It's not. And you know what? It doesn't matter, because what matters is that you enjoy it. Okay. So my YouTube channel, I have almost 100 subscribers now, which is a lot, because you know how when you're watching YouTube channels and you get like those suggested, like all the people on the side, bar and, watch this one. Well, YouTube is not going to do that. Let me clean up here. YouTube is not going to do that until you have, 30 to 40 videos uploaded already. Okay. And because you have to do that to hit a certain, we all talk about the algorithm now. So you have to do that before you hit a certain place on the algorithm. Who knew that word? You guys remember, who knew the word algorithm would become like we just say it? Geez. Anyway, let me just move this crap around. What I'm doing now is, that's nothing. That was just my saran wrap. Okay. What I'm doing now is I'm moving my little hot plate here. Okay, so just off topic slightly. This is something that I used in my cooking classes back home in the United States. These little induction ovens, they will only work through magnetization. And so if you want to get one of this is from IKEA, okay, which is great in this tiny German kitchen that I have a place to do this that's not over there, like right by the sink. It's ridiculous. Anyway, if you want an induction oven, it is, they're really affordable. They do a better job of actually heating up and keeping things even, okay, than any normal oven I've ever had. And I even had a gas oven when we lived in New Orleans, and it was fine. But, so I mean, if you're looking at your, not oven, if you're looking at your stove in your kitchen going, this is a piece of crap, I hate it, think about just getting one of these. I think this was like, 40 euros or something like that. And then I have a bunch home in the United States for my little cooking school. But you need pots and pans that are that you can stick a magnet to. Okay. So if you're just using like a nonstick or whatever, it's not going to work. Cast iron works, but if you're in the market, I'm making a caramel sauce right now for my caramel apple pie. That's a 1/4 cup of butter. if you're in the market and you have one of these cooktops and you're like, you know what, I need some pots and pans, just stick a magnet in your purse or, you know, whatever you carry, and take it with you and just see if your pots and pans that you find are can magnetize. Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I need to go get brown sugar to make my caramel sauce. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I gotta run down 3 flights of stairs to my basement, get the brown, I knew I was forgetting something, get the brown sugar. You know, you don't have to stay, that's okay. But you can, this is a little break time. Actually, you know, those lives I watch on YouTube, these other shows, mostly just topical news shows, they'll sometimes hit like, be right back, and like have a potty break or something. Anyway, so I did today make a be right back sign on Canva, because I thought, I don't know, what if something happens and I have to go somewhere? Anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, here's my be right back sign. I'm gonna turn off the volume. I'm gonna go get some brown sugar, and then I'm gonna come back. And if we get cut off, then thanks for being here. It was nice, but okay, I'll be back. I just downstairs, back up, so no big deal. Okay, there we go. All right, see you in a minute. Turn off the sound, just like that. That's Jason, isn't he so cute? Okay, so went downstairs. Not breathing too heavily. God, what did I saw a meme a few days ago? It was like, you ever go hiking and you're just mortified that people are gonna, oh, come on. Oh, okay. That people are gonna hear how heavily you're breathing. It's funny. Let's see, I had my caramel apple pie recipe right over here. Anyway, like I was gonna say, all right, I'm gonna have to remember it now. Okay. Anyway, flippin' miracle, right? That I'm able to walk up and down the stairs because, well, I remember what I'm doing here. I remember the ratio, okay. Caramel, making a caramel sauce. I mean, this is an authentic caramel, but this is a caramel sauce, okay. Butter, 1/4 cup of butter. So I'm pretty sure the ratio is 2 parts sugar to 1 part butter. Okay, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but whatever. Okay, anyway, such a miracle. I am able to walk up and down the stairs because a year ago, Colonel Jr. pulled me into a ditch because he was chasing a mouse, and I shattered my leg in 7 pieces, okay? That's about 1/2 cup. That should be right. Anyway, shattered my leg in 7 pieces. I had 4 surgeries. You know, I used to talk a lot about like how I had anxiety. Not anymore. Okay. So in that respect, I mean, wow. Oh, yes, so exciting. Split screen. Let's do this. Okay, dink, dink. There we go. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing. Melting the sugar and the butter together, okay? And then we're gonna put on 1/2 cup of heavy cream, okay? And then we're gonna let it simmer for a few minutes, just long enough for me to peel and chop my apples. Okay, so, don't suffer from anxiety anymore because I shattered my leg when I least expected it. When I least expected it. Think about that, okay? And I learned from that experience, you know, anxiety isn't worth it because you never know when you're just going to be walking down the street and shatter your leg. Okay. Anyway, it was a big deal. So I'm so much better now. It's amazing. I was like, oh, I can just go up and down the stairs, no problem. I'm going to let that bubble for a little bit. And while it is doing that, I'm going to add the cream after it starts to simmer. And while it is doing that, here's my phone. While that is doing that, I am going to, there I am. And while it is doing that, I'm going to add the cream. Oh, okay. Hey, I can see your comments when I look. So go ahead and ask a question if you have it. Okay. get a cutting board. So what did I do already? Just in case you're interested and you want to. Okay, yeah, we got cut off. Okay, now this is on my phone. I got my caramel sauce still going. I'll tell you what, technology is so great until it's not working. Oh, it's frustrating. Anyway, I got my caramel sauce here. I was just talking about how I peel an apple. Okay, so I'm making my caramel apple pie. Maybe it's best maybe it's best we have two parts to this. Okay. And so anyway, I was just saying, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. I was just saying, you know, if no one's ever shown you how to peel an apple, well, then how are you supposed to know? And what I know about all these cooking shows and the network and all the stuff is that they have to hurry up and teach you something. Hurry up and not really teach you something, but hurry up and get you to watch something and then move on to the next thing. So, I mean, while watching a cooking show that's very edited and they have a certain time frame, while that can be inspiring, I have found in my own personal research that it actually discourages people from actually cooking because it's not a real lesson and they're not getting a full scope of what it takes. And if they are struggling with feelings of inadequacy or they don't like doing something that they're not really good at, they just don't do it. Okay. That's what I have to say about that. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. Okay. Anyway, so I'm peeling my apples now. My crusts are all ready to go. This is how I peel my apples. As you can see, let me see if I can, there's 5 apples. Let me see if I can provide some more detailed description here. And now I can see you. And now I can see who's here. All right, but I don't get to show you pictures of Jason or Colonel Jr. or all that stuff. Okay. Okay, so here is my caramel sauce. And let me see if I can just cook this a little bit. There, that's better. It's been it's not really simmering. It's just getting to the point where it's bubbling. And I have my little induction stovetop here at a 1. And I'm just gonna turn it up to a 2 just for a minute. I have butter and brown sugar in here. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt, okay? Because you guys all know that salt and caramel are nice together, right? The salt kind of takes down the sweetness, right? And next I am going to add just a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, which I'm estimating right now, okay? So for my caramel apple pie, what we're doing is we're going to cut up the apples. We're gonna dust them with the flour and sugar mixture. And you know what? I'm gonna add some cinnamon too. We're gonna put the apples in the pie shell and then we're gonna pour this caramel sauce over it, okay? Then we're gonna top the pie and then we're gonna bake it, okay? That is how the caramel apple pie is made. So you see how that smells really good. Okay, so you saw me put in a little salt, but here's the fun part, okay? Back when I first started writing recipes, I believed that adding alcohol to all food was a mark of class. So it's like, those first, I'm like, I have written some of these in like 2009. I mean, you couldn't light a match in the kitchen when I was testing those ones out. All right, just a couple of tablespoons. This is spiced rum, Captain Morgan's. This is also the one, what I use in my sweet potato casserole recipe. So anyway, brandy's also good in this as well. Okay, and we're just gonna let that simmer for a few more minutes. And then of course, while we're baking our pie, it's gonna simmer even more in the pie, right? And it's gonna, there we go. Okay. So what happened with my fancy setup is that my iPad decided that it didn't have any more space anymore, which I don't even, anyway, I got to do some work and clear it out and stuff. It didn't have any space anymore. But I tell you what, it kept going for about an hour, so I'm happy about that. Okay, last one, technical information. What you're seeing, okay, you guys know those machines that peel, the little crank machines that peel apples? The apple turns on the crank, the peeler is in one spot. Okay, that's exactly what you're gonna do, see? The peeler stays, right? With a potato, I'm holding it and I'm pulling it and the peeler is moving. With a carrot, I'm holding it, I'm pushing down, the peeler is moving. With an apple, I'm twirling the apple, the peeler is staying the same. And I'm just using my thumb to kind of just stabilize it, really. That's how we peel the apple so quickly. Also, another thing I learned in teaching, okay, so this is boiling, not boiling, but just kind of bubbling here. I'm gonna turn the heat off, okay? Another thing I learned in teaching in-person classes where I was talking to people and they, you know, if you're just on a food blog and people are leaving comments, they're not, I mean, not many people are going to be like, you know, like you know, they're not going to mention things that they feel are incidental, okay, but are actually vital. And I did find out that one of my students was using a peeler that was 20 years old, okay? And she was like, I can't do anything in the kitchen. I'm so bad at all this. And she's like, in my hands and my peeler does this. I'm like, okay, well, how long have you had your peeler? What kind do you have? Oh, I don't know. I got it as a bridal shower gift 20 years ago. And I was like, well, there you go. Okay, that's it. Okay, chopping apples. If you're gonna make an apple snack for kids, you know how you do it where you quarter the apple and you kind of scoop the core out. We're not doing that, okay? You saw what I just did. I just cut it. I cut the flesh off around the core, okay? And your fingers, you know, I'm sure you know this from the Food Network, right? Your fingers are a little claw. You hold it. And then your slicer, your knife is the movement, okay? You kind of just, your hand's job here is to hold that food in place. Don't slice your fingers off. It's your knife's job. Just think of it like a factory or something. It's the knife's job. You guys can see that, right? I kind of like this, this landscape perspective. It's moving towards me. Okay. So then I just put all these in a bowl like this. Anyway, let me know if you have a question. I can see now, so I can answer better and easier. But I'll tell you what, it's going to kind of be a bummer to put both of these videos together if I want to put them on my YouTube channel. Okay, talk about YouTube. So back in 2011, I had already been teaching classes. We just moved to Pennsylvania. My husband's in the Marine Corps. He went to the Army War College there. So we moved to Pennsylvania, and it was this beautiful, we lived in this old house that I'm pretty sure they tore it down, but it was, well, the cornerstone was laid in like 1801 because it was land that was given to the owner for fighting in the Revolutionary War. I mean, that's the kind of history that's there. It's everywhere, right? And the kitchen was this huge kitchen. All my kids, and we only had 6 kids at the time, they could all fit in there. We had this huge table in there. It was great. And I thought, you know, this is the time. I've heard about that YouTube thing, and I'm going to make videos. And back then, however, YouTube was silly and full of trolls, okay? And people would leave. I mean, I didn't have any comments turned on those videos, but I would see what they would say to other people. It was horrifying, okay? But also, it wasn't like there was no such thing as a YouTuber. It was everyone was. It was all very. People would laugh, okay? Because I made a few videos, and somebody would say, well, well, where are your videos? You know, like public television was I? And I'm like, no, YouTube. And they'd be like, oh, you know, like, ha ha. And so, you know, it's much different now. And, but what I learned from that experience, I mean, it took me 30 hours to just edit one. And of course I had 6 little kids and I was still homeschool or attempting to homeschool. After a few of those, it was like, no, there's no way I can do this. So I stopped doing that. But my larger point here, and I've restarted a YouTube channel now that all my kids are at school and I no longer homeschool, and my youngest is 7, who wasn't even born yet back then. So, so my point is that I make a pie with my kids before Thanksgiving every year. And the reason why is because that year, back in 2000, it was 2012. It's 9 years ago. I did a pie video, pumpkin pie, okay? And I didn't spend any time with my kids. And I had to shoo them out of the kitchen. And I mean, I had to spend like 30 hours editing the darn thing. And, you know, I felt so bad about that. I felt so bad because I was like, this, I don't want to be this, you know, where I'm just like, they didn't even get to be part of it. Right. So the next year I thought, we had already moved to Japan the next year, five apples, almost done. We had already moved to Japan the next year. I didn't have that nice kitchen anymore. And I was pregnant with Rosie. And I was like, you know what? God works in mysterious ways. There's a reason for this. So this is my apples. All right. So I decided that year, you know what? I'm not going to do videos, not for a whole long time. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make a pie with each one of my kids. So, I made 6 pies with 6 kids, pregnant with little Rosie. This is flour, 1/4 cup of flour and 2 tablespoons of, sugar. Okay. And also I'm going to add some cinnamon too. I'm going to say a teaspoon. Why not? Okay. Okay. So anyway, that's when I started doing the pie day with my kids. And this year we only have 5 kids at home. Not sure if my teenagers want to do it, and I'm not going to force them. But my youngest 3 kids, I'll tell you what, if they're, I don't even know what time it is. If they're on the bus right now, that's what they're thinking about. Yep. No, they'll be on the bus soon. So that's what they're thinking. They're excited about making pies. Okay. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to clean up some stuff and get ready for them. Because I'll tell you what, if I'm not ready when they walk in the door, they will pester me to death. Okay. Okay. So I got my apples. I have my caramel sauce with my spiced rum. My gosh, that smells good. Now I'm just going to roll out a pie shell. I'm going to put this in there. We'll see how much time we have. If I have time for a lattice top, no big deal, right? Okay. And each kid, all right, let me get a good one. That's nice. It's malleable. Okay. If you guys were watching my other one, if you were there, if you came over here when that one finished or cut out, I appreciate it. Okay. Get my rolling pin. Now I have a bunch of rolling pins, but for a pie, I just like a rolling pin like this. Okay. It's small. So I just made this about an hour ago. You can keep the recipes, the recipes was with the other video, which is still in existence. I'm just not on it right now. My kombucha. Okay. So I have my pie pan. Wait, where is the pie pan? Oh, hang on, it's right over here. All right, here it is. If you're really a stickler about having a nice crispy bottom crust, don't use glass. You're gonna need an aluminum pie pan, okay? Or metal, or even cast iron, I think. I honestly, I don't really care for me. And I like these glass ones because they're deep. Okay, the deep dish ones. And also, remember, I'm in Germany, so, I mean, I went and I got this at the exchange. All my other stuff is in the United States. Okay. Just, even if anyone cares, the proper way to put flour on your surface is kind of a side motion like this, okay? Not that it matters, okay? But we have a nice distribution. So the thing I want you to know about rolling out a pie shell, okay, is not Play-Doh. You can't start, mix it up, form it again, and go again. I mean, you could, okay, who cares? But now see, this is gonna shake. Sorry about that. My iPhone holder is attached to this table. Oh, for heaven's sake. Gosh darn it. Oh well, okay. So I'm applying like a medium pressure, okay? And my job here is not to create like a ditch in the middle. It's to keep it nice and flat as we go. And just to keep things uniform. And I'm just adding enough flour so my rolling pin does not stick. I'm gonna try to do this gently so it doesn't shake the camera too much or shake my iPhone too much. Okay, now the next thing I want you to know is that, do you see how on the sides there are fissures here, okay? This is my, I mean, I don't know if anyone else does this. It makes sense to me. I just pull it around here and I press in and I really concentrate on keeping my pastry as a disc, okay? Right? Okay. Oh, hey. Oh. So random question, who has been your favorite person to learn cooking things from? Well, first of all, I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about like a personality, like now Julia Child. I came across her book, The Way to Cook, back in 2000, and I ran across it at a secondhand store, and I didn't even know anything about her, even though I had already had a cake business, right? Just because I took a Wilton class back in 1999, and the only thing I knew about Julia Child, okay, because I studied music in college and vocal performance, is that my teacher, my voice instructor, used to tell me, because vocal performance in college, you're not learning how to sing pop stuff, and you're not you're singing classical music, which any normal like lay person would hear a classical songs or art song and say that's opera, which is not technically opera, but it's still highfalutin in the upper register. Okay, so my voice teacher used to say, you have to sound like Julia Child when you're singing this kind of music. And I'm like, wait a second, I think I know who that is. And so Julia Child spoke in an upper register, right? Like Julia Child. Blah, blah, blah. So when you're a classical vocalist or an opera singer, you can't sing like that throaty crap. Sorry, you cannot sing in your throat and that'll ruin your voice. You have to sing in an upper register. So that's how I learned who Julia Child was, because I think I had seen some stuff on public television, but not really. You know what I mean? Okay, you guys see how this is rolling out so beautifully. So when I got her book, The Way to Cook, I had just been to France because my husband and I were married, and I had a little baby daughter, and he, is in the Marine Corps, and he was on a med cruise, and this was pre-war, right? And I was able to go. My daughter and I were able to go and meet him when he docked in Marseille, and he took a train and met me and our baby daughter in Lyon. Okay, which Lyon, Lyon, which we would pronounce Lion, Leon, but it's pronounced Lyon. okay? And so we met there, and that's when I was still stuck in diet culture, which we'll talk about later. I actually, at the time, was a fitness instructor, so this is funny, with the military, you know, like a fitness instructor, because I was still stuck in diet culture and still thinking that I don't care, no judgment, but that's not me, okay? And I remember going to France, and I was fitness instructor, right? 25 years old, new baby daughter, and I saw all that interesting stuff, okay? Food and pastries and all of it. I took it all in. Changed my life, okay? So I had just gotten back from that trip to France, and I remember I remember stuff. I remember a lot, and I remembered every single thing I ate. I remembered every single facet about it. And so when I found that book by Julia Child, I was like, aha, this is unlocking. Okay, this is about the right size. You want to measure it, you can, but I mean, look, I've been doing this for so long. I mean, that's close enough, okay? And this recipe, it's for deep dish, because there's nothing worse than not having enough pie crust, right? So I saw that Julia Child book, and it has a lot of pictures, and she has basic recipes for like the mother sauces and pastry like this, although she doesn't use lard, and basic bread and a cassoulet and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, now it all makes sense, because what I was seeing was master recipes, and that's what taught me what ratios were, why a ratio is important, okay? So anyway, I studied that book, I memorized it, and I started memorizing the ratios. And so while I never really watched Julia Child on TV, that book was a big deal, because it taught me that it's doable, but it was all the pictures. It was all the pictures. And then of course her easy style of writing, where you really felt like, that's what we're doing now, where you really felt like you were actually talking with her, okay? And so I still had a cake business, gave up the fitness instructing right away, because I was like, no, these two worlds cannot live together. I cannot be, no, we're doing things different from now on. There's a whole other story behind that too. And then that's when I started really just cooking, and I made baguette, right? My little daughter, who is almost ready to finish college in Switzerland right now, she called them baby breads, because we would make real baguette, okay? This is in 2001, 2002. And I would let her make these tiny ones, and she called them baby breads. So anyway, then I started making the quiche Lorraine, and that was that, you know? And then we moved to England, and then I studied more, okay? And I met friends, and I met my friend Julia. That's it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to leave the sides like this. We'll see how much time we have to make a lattice top, okay, if you want to stick around. You saw how easy that was, right? Okay, here's our apples. Pop them in there. The flour's important, okay? Some people use cornstarch. This is going to make it so it's not just a soupy mess, okay? Okay. Jason's back. Hi, Jason. Anyway, then we moved to England, and we moved to England with one child. We came back with 3. And here's my caramel sauce. You guys see that? Okay, I'm just gonna pour this right here. And then, of course, you're in England, you're right there. So then from there, I got to travel to Italy and Spain and Greece and France again. And, but that wasn't what I learned the most from. What I learned the most in England, the people who I learned the most from were the people who worked at a cook shop down the street from where we lived, which we lived in a little flat in Cambridge. And I didn't have a car, and so I just pushed that stroller all over that town. That's what happened as the years went by. Okay, that's beautiful. Now, you know, if I could do this again, I would add more filling. I maybe would have even, I don't know. I'm just concerned that it's going to shrink down too much. But anyway, it's too late now. Okay, so then we moved to England. And the people, it was called the Elizabeth David Cookshop. And it was a place, so guys ever seen, the Le Creuset? Everyone knows what that is now. I had only been exposed to Le Creuset from a Williams-Sonoma catalog back in like 2000. And I remember just thinking, God, that's beautiful stuff, but wow, is it ever expensive. Well, the Elizabeth David Cookshop, which they have since closed, they had the Le Creuset, and they had every color. I'm going to go ahead and roll out the top. Should I do a lattice? You guys want to do that? What time is it? Okay, we'll do a wide lattice. That's faster and easier. So I'm going to get another piece of my pastry, and I'm going to go ahead, and I even have this. So the Elizabeth David Cookshop had the Le Creuset, but they also, and I thought it was Le Creuset until I moved there. Le Creuset, and they had stuff like this, specialty items for doing things, interesting things. Also, like, that's where I learned what these are. Okay, these are pie weights. I remember my friend Julia telling, because I used to go in there all the time. And my friend Julia, who was American, worked there. And so we got along great because she's from the West Coast too. And then, of course, all the British ladies who worked there, we got along. And I would just walk in with my stroller and say, well, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? And I asked them everything. And they explained everything to me. I learned about, but these are pie weights. Okay, these are ceramic weights that if I was going to make like a chocolate cream pie or a custard pie, I would bake this pie shell first with nothing in it. But I would use ceramic weights, and I would put a layer of tinfoil down, then I'd put the ceramic weights in, and then bake it like that. And that's how you make a pre-baked shell. So I learned what these are from that cook shop, right? That's just an example. Anyway, that's probably where I learned the most about everything, because I got to, I would walk by, I would go in almost every day, right? Because I didn't know anybody else. I didn't have a car. I had little kids. I was pregnant a lot. And they were just down the street. And they're all still my friends. My friend Julia, they're all still my friends on the Facebook. And so also across the street from the cook shop, there was a fruit and vegetable stand. They were called Graham's Fruiterers, right? Interesting, so it was a family-owned fruit stand. And so that's where I got to learn about whoops, there we go again with the shaking. That's where I got to learn about, shallots and leeks and the swede, which is the rutabaga, but they call it the swede. And then I would buy things or point things out and then go into the cook shop and say, well, what's this for? Well, what's that for? Well, what's this for? And my friend Linda, who, she had so much knowledge of just classic British historical cooking that she would say, oh no, you take the swede and you make a mash with carrot and swede mash, which is delicious. And with a knob of butter. Anyway, and I have to make that and post it. But, anyway, that was it. It was the cook shop ladies. It was the Graham's Fruiterers across the street from the cook shop, all under the Julia Child. That was that. Okay. And then me just doing a lot of trying. Okay. And then by the time we got back to the United States, 2009 is when I stopped my cake business. I stopped making cakes for other people because I had 5 kids at the time, and I was just sick of it. Okay, anyone who's worked, I mean, you love it but no, I couldn't do that anymore. And then that's when I started teaching. And so, my friend here was in one of my first classes, and those were great times. And then we moved to New Orleans, where I learned even more. And then we moved to Pennsylvania. Then we moved to Japan. Then we moved back to North Carolina. That's when I set up a cooking school in my house. on a farm. It's Power of the Holy Spirit, because our house was moldy and awful after that hurricane. It was before the hurricane too, but it was even worse after. I don't recommend doing this, okay? That's kind of a rogue move I just did because I have too much clutter on my table. And then we moved to Kentucky, and then we moved to Germany. Okay, so that's the story. Okay. So because I want to show you an easy version of a lattice, and you know what? I'm going to make a true lattice today, okay? Not a mock lattice. When you're making a wide lattice, okay, wide, you don't need to do the mock part. You can really actually weave. And so what I have here is my little pastry tool. And I mean, I can use the flat part or I can use the crinkle part. And I think I'm going to use the crinkle part. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my strips about 1 inch wide. And so if you've never made lattice before, try the wide one. It's going to be easier. And you know, those really super intricate pies, I don't know if you guys have seen those online. They're using all kinds of techniques. So if I'm making one that is really intricate and with a very small lattice, chances are I am using a quilting board, okay, to make sure my measurements are right. The ones that are extremely intricate, they are probably also using the freezer as an aid. Well, they will roll out their dough and they're going to weave it and they're going to do all these different things with it. And then they're going to do all that work on a piece of parchment paper. So we have pieces about like that. And they're going to put that whole parchment paper in the freezer. Okay, and then they're going to top their pie where it's so much less likely that they're going to destroy their work because it's going to be frozen. And that's another thing. If you ever wonder, like how someone is doing something, they're probably using their freezer as a tool. Okay. Okay. So I think I have enough here. We're going to just make a nice wide lattice. Let me know if you have any other questions. Anyway, I so appreciate you asking me that because I kind of just got a nice little trip down memory lane. Here's Jason again. So because I'm going to make this a real lattice and not a mock lattice is if I had small strips and I was going to make it look like they were woven. But because this is a nice wide weave, right? So over, under, over. That's a real lattice, okay? Now I'm going to go here. I got a little splittage here. So if you are finding that you're having splittage, right, with your pastry, it's because it's drying out really quickly. And I will take a brand new, perfectly clean makeup sponge, okay, and soak it, squeeze it so it's just slightly damp. And I will pat that on my pastry and that keeps it from cracking. That adds just enough moisture. Okay, so it's all backwards now. So this one was over. So the next one's gonna be under, okay. Okay, and then the last one, this is over, under, over. So if this is your first time doing lattice, probably a good way to go. Nice wide strips. I only cut 6. That was 1 disc. So that would be half of a batch. So I used a whole batch on this pie. If you're doing it by hand and making small batches, you would use 2 batches then. So then the next step is you get to decide what kind of pie edge person you want to be, okay? I prefer to kind of use like a push-pull method. And if you find that you don't have enough or you're not happy with this because you have, ideas, doing something more decorative, just look at what I have left over, okay? And you can use this if you want to go ahead and line. But what I'm gonna do today, a lot of people use the fork tines. You know, a lot of people do use like the knuckle press method, and that's great too. But I use thumbs in a kind of a push-pull method, okay? Just like that. I hope you can see that. And I always cover my pies when I put them in the oven, because you can always take that foil off and bake for a little bit longer to get a nice top. But if you, once it's brown, like if this, and also I have a German oven, which is not, I mean, there's a reason. I mean, Europeans don't bake like Americans do, and so their ovens aren't set up to bake. So this is not the best baking oven. Mine isn't. So I'll definitely be putting foil over it to just make sure those insides cook before the outsides cook, okay? Anyway, so it's almost done. I'm kind of fed up with that other system I have. All those, I'll tell you what, setting up all those cameras took a lot of time today. I don't think, I got to figure something out if I want to keep doing that or not. But I did enjoy sharing pictures of the animals, Colonel Jr. and stuff. Okay. You know, it's cute. A lot of people, if you see those, those different pictures of like leaves and stuff like that, you can get little cookie cutters, but you don't have to. And I can just make a little leaf out of my cutter right here. Okay. And go ahead. Now I'll just use one of these. And then you can just add the middle line like that. If you want to do some pastry sculpture, okay, just like that. And if you want to add little things like that, you can do that too. Anyway, as far as the egg wash goes, that's kind of cute. You guys see that right there? If I do an egg wash, I will not brush it on until the last 10 minutes, because I know my oven, and I know my oven is going to brown this crust too fast, okay? And an egg wash is only going to accelerate that process. Okay. And then I'm pretty sure the temperature that, for you, it would be 350 degrees. For me, it's not going to be quite that cut and dry. Okay. So I don't know. You could try that. You saw how I did that. And if you only have, if you don't have a little thingy like this, then, just use a knife. Also, if you're going to get into pastry art, don't be afraid to use tools for other things, like an X-Acto knife, okay? I use an X-Acto knife for some pastry art. And then, like I said earlier, I use a brand new clean makeup sponge if I need to add a little more moisture on the pastry as I'm working with it, okay? So don't be afraid to and also I use quilting tools if I'm doing real precision work, and that works great because, okay. Oh, thanks so much. Take care. I'm gonna go. I've got this. Pop it in the oven. I'll post a picture later. Anyway, super appreciate you guys being here. It's really important and good for me to practice in the impromptu thing. So I appreciate it, and it's interesting, and it helps me remember things that I wouldn't normally remember sitting at my desk, right? Or just alone in the kitchen, like all the stuff of the cook shop and Julia Child and all that. I don't think I would have remembered that on my own. Okay. So I super appreciate your questions, and I'm going to go My kids will be home soon. I gotta clean up in here because when they come home, they are going to drive me crazy if I do not, if I'm not ready. They'll pester me until they get to make their pies. The little ones. The little ones who are 12 years old, 11 years old, and 7. They are really excited to do this. Okay. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. I'm gonna, maybe put some more leaves on that, and I'll show you how it turned out. And I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.